Am I wrong for refusing to go on my family's Disney trip because my husband said my son wasn't invited? So I've been married to my husband for 2 years and I have a 7-year-old son from a previous relationship. He also has a 9-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy from a previous marriage. We've all lived together for years and I genuinely thought we were one happy family. Although my stepson calls my husband by his first name, he sees him as his dad completely. His own dad hasn't been in his life since he was 2. A few weeks ago, my husband said he wants to use his bonus from work to book a Disney trip. I knew my son would be absolutely thrilled, and when I spoke to him about it later on, he was so excited and kept asking every day how many sleeps left, before we'd even booked it. When my husband sat down with me to book the trip, he asked if I could arrange for my son to go to my mum's for the week. I asked him what he was talking about. He said he decided he wanted the trip to be about spending quality time with his children before they got a bit older, and that my son would have a great time with his nan. I told him I wasn't sending my son away so that my husband could just have his own children on our trip. He said I was being dramatic, so I told him if my son wasn't invited, then I wasn't welcome either. Now my husband thinks I'm ruining a trip for everyone because I can't accept he needs one-on-one time with his children. But honestly, if he wants a trip with just his children, then I don't see why I'm expected to go and pretend like we're one family when my son's being excluded. Am I wrong? No, she is absolutely not wrong. If you are marrying someone who already has a child, then you're not just marrying the parent, you're choosing to be part of that child's family too. My son's only 7 and been living with this family for years. Deliberately excluding him from a family holiday is incredibly hurtful. I completely understand someone wanting quality time with their kids. I actually think that's quite important, and there's nothing wrong with doing some special one-on-one time with them. But that doesn't mean his stepson needs to be excluded from a family trip. Take him to the park or the cinema on their own. And why not spend one-on-one time with your stepson too? That way every child gets to feel special and included. Instead, what he's essentially saying is, these are my children and this one isn't. And his stepson's been part of his life and his household for years. I think that sends a really damaging message to a 7-year-old. So no, I don't blame her for refusing to go. I wouldn't either. I'd also be rethinking the whole relationship. For me, being family is making sure all the children feel like they belong. Am I wrong for leaving a dry wedding early to go out? 2 weeks ago, me and my husband went for a wedding in our old university town. We left the kids with my parents and were genuinely excited because firstly, we hardly ever get any time alone together, and secondly, we hadn't had a night out together in ages. The invitation said the wedding would go on till 11 p.m, followed by an after party with the bride and groom at their gorgeous wedding venue. Since they were staying there that night before they left for the honeymoon the next day, we thought we was going to be in for a good celebration. What we didn't know was this was a completely dry wedding. Apparently the groom had been sober for 2 years beforehand, but we weren't aware of this at all. When we initially found out there was no alcohol, we were just a little bit disappointed. Not because we have to have a drink to enjoy ourselves, just that we were looking forward to letting our hair down. When the wedding finished at 11, we decided to go into town to meet some old university friends. To be honest, the wedding became pretty boring after about 9:30 and a lot of people had already left. Pretty much the whole university group ended up leaving too around the same time as us, and they also went into town. The next day we heard the bride was furious. Apparently all of her friends left and just the groom's friends stayed. So she called us all out for leaving her on a wedding night. But I don't think we did anything wrong. Am I wrong? So I don't think they're wrong for leaving. The bride and groom are completely entitled to have a dry wedding. If the groom is 2 years sober, that should absolutely be respected. Nobody should ask him to compromise that. Guests are also allowed to decide how they spend their evening. If the invitation made it out there was going to be this big massive after party, it's understandable that people expect a certain type of celebration. Had they just known beforehand it was going to be dry, they could have made a different decision about whether to attend, or even booked somewhere else afterwards. The fact is they still stayed till 11 o'clock, and therefore dedicated a lot of time to this wedding anyway. It's understandable the bride was upset when her friends weren't there at the after party. Being disappointed doesn't automatically make the people that left wrong. You can be upset about the night without blaming anyone else. Personally, the easy way to deal with this is just tell people it's a dry wedding. People will respect that, but guests also deserve enough information to be able to plan their own evenings. Not wrong.